Hello, all you lovely individuals, and welcome to League Unlock. Thank you for hanging out as we look back at some of the team histories for the LCS and what we're going to be seeing in 2020. We already know that the theme is old, new faces, Dignitas, Immortals, and Evil Geniuses, which is a team and a name that you haven't referenced or said in many a moon when it comes to League of Legends. Obviously, they're a huge eSports brand and are involved in plenty of other games and are world class in a lot of other games. But it has been 4+ years since we have uttered the name Evil Geniuses when it comes to competitive League of Legends. And this is actually a team that has some deep roots in the history of the LoL esports scene, because they started out as one of the most iconic teams in the early days of League, and we are talking about CLG Europe, CLG EU, with Froggen, Wicked, Snoopy, Crepo, and Yellow Pete. And I mean, Season 2, this is one of the best teams on the planet. They were going toe-to-toe with Korean teams in the early days of League, and even winning some sets off them. They beat some of the Azubu teams in Korean tournaments. They played in 2012 Azubu champions, got to the finals, got top 4 at the Season 2 World Championship. But as the LCS rolled around and in Season 3, they rebranded as Evil Geniuses, and it was the exact same lineup for the debut splits in the EU LCS, and they hovered around as kind of that third, fourth best team, right behind Fnatic and Gambit, and a little bit better than SK Gaming. And I mean, it was tough. In the summer playoffs, it was Game 3 against Gambit to qualify for Worlds. At that point, it was just the third place team goes, and it was an emotional one, obviously. They didn't go to Worlds, so eventually they split up. EG went to North America, and CLG EU, EG Europe kept Froggen and Wicked to form Alliance, and we remember what they did at Worlds. And then EG ended up keeping that team name, and they took the spot of Velocity eSports. You remember that good old crew in NA, one of the worst teams that we've seen in the history of the LCS? Well, EG took that, and the other 3/5 of the original CLG EU in Snoopy, Crepo, and Yellow Pete came over to North America for what they believed to be greener pastures. And I mean, things started okay. They got a win in their first week of action. They also had Inox and Pobelter. This was the debut year for the notorious POB in the mid lane, and they got, again, a win against CLG. Look, Pobelter's thrilled. I think he's 13 years old in that clip. But there were a lot more lows than highs for EG in their debut spring split. They ended up going 8-20, which wasn't worst in the league. They ended up finishing 7th. They would have to go through the promotion tournament to get back into the league for summer, but they absolutely did that. And then you had some roster changes because it was Helios, Avalon, Altec came in. It was just Crepo, really, that stayed of the original EG lineup, and they did look better in the summer split. They would end up going 11-17, and then again, they had to requalify for 2015, and then all of a sudden, the team rebranded as Winter Fox. Yeah, that's probably a name you haven't heard in a long time, and the roster swaps were insane there. You see Paragon on the Corki. Well, that was the head coach. He subbed in at AD carry, and then Alltech role swapped to support, but that was only for a couple of weeks. It was an absolute mess, but clearly the team was much better when Alltech was on AD carry and actually playing those picks, because believe it or not, that's his main. Pobelter was still on the squad, and again, it was Avalon and Helios for the majority of the split. They struggled 7-11. They had to play in the promotion tournament, and this time they did not come out with a victory. They were relegated to the challenger scene. This is when Alex Each was boosting NA Challenger teams to the LCS. They fell 3-1 to Team Dragon Knights. And after that, really the best and only good portions of Winter Fox, which were Alltech and Pobelter, They were out of there. See you later. Pobelter would go on to join CLG, as you recall, and capture an LCS title with them, whereas Altec went to Gravity, and they were actually a really solid team in 2015 before Altec would bounce around to a couple of different squads. But really, this is the franchise that started the careers of Pobelter and Altec, and that is really their biggest claim to fame because they never actually made playoffs in the North American LCS, and they were fighting in promotion tournaments time and time again. And by the way, after Pobelter and Altec left the team, they played it out in the challenger scene, and they finished dead last with a 1-9 record before, after that, the team decided, all right, let's just disband. So Winter Fox, I actually kind of liked the logo, kind of liked the name. It was kind of cool, but it only lasted one split. They didn't even make it to summer. And again, the biggest claim was they had those marquee players in the old CLG squads, but you can definitely say that Alliance, for all that happened and the Kaboom saga, they did win an EU LCS title and go to the World Championship. So Froggen and Wicked definitely got the better of that breakup when it came to the old CLG EU, because Snoopy, Crepo, and Yellow Pete really didn't get too much done in North America, and 2/3 of them were subbed out after their first split of action on the LCS stage. So Froggen still the winner when it comes to that breakup. But Evil Geniuses, it'll be odd to see them back. Obviously, they're replacing Echo Fox for 2020, and I mean, you got some crossover. Altec has now played for both those orgs. Maybe you need to bring him back. Who knows what the Echo Fox or Evil Geniuses roster is going to look like in 2020, but it will be nice to have another familiar brand here in 2020 for the LCS.